hand feature. If you have a question or comment, Bante will invite you to speak if he's speaking, please allow him to finish and he will ask you to your turn when it's your turn. Ask one question at a time, please, that is related to this topic. Please do not be shy. This session will help us develop our Dhamma knowledge and meditation practices. If you have more than one question, we ask that you wait to the end, and Bante will, if we have time left, Bante will definitely answer your question. If you wish to share merits, as some of you know, we do share merits with our family members, friends, and departed relatives. So please send those names directly to Bante if you would like to share merits with anyone. Now, as Bante walks us through this session, you may hear words like sadhu, sadhu. That means excellent. And he may use some Pali words as well, which is the Buddha's language. If you are new, please do not worry, as you will learn more as you develop your mindfulness and the teachings of our great Buddha. Before Bante begins, please try to stay present, sit comfortably, and think of a part of this session, if not the whole teachings, that you would like to put into your practice daily life. Now, the topic tonight, as you know from the Linda sent everyone the message, it's the path to attain right view. So before Bante diving into the teachings, I'm going to ask our friend Mike, who I believe was the volunteer. Mike, is that correct? That you were going to give us a recap of the last session. So thank you very much, Mike, for taking your time for doing that for us. So you can get started.
Okay. Our session last week was on the Kalama Sutta, and that sutta was basically on how to know what is true. And so Bante taught that sutta last week, and it was, let me look at some of these notes here. Was on how do we know what to believe when many teachers claim to possess the truth, and rather than believing in something blindly, this sutta gives the Buddha's teaching here. And so I guess the Kalamas were either residents of the town, and they had been visited by many spiritual teachers, and each spiritual teacher had claimed that had praised their own teachings as being correct, dismissing the teachings of others, and then claiming authority over their teachings. And so they had several spiritual teachers come through their town and do this, and they didn't really know who to believe. And the Buddha had on one occasion had been visiting their town, and the Kalamas had gone respectfully to go visit the Buddha and ask him um, how to know which teachings are true and which ones are false. And the Buddha actually um, he actually wasn't he rather than demanding belief, he responded he responding with compassion, and he let the Kalamas know that honest doubt is not a problem. It's the beginning of wisdom. So, you know, he also gave 10 reasons not to simply believe in the teachings. And so those 10 reasons were given by the Buddha to the Kalamas to know how to to know how to not just simply believe something. And so those 10 things were oral transmission. Just because we hear it doesn't mean that it's true. A tradition or lineage. Um, so this is what our tradition says. So not to believe something just because of tradition. Also, rumor or reports. People that if people are saying it, don't believe it. If it's like being reported on. scriptural authority. Just because if it's written in a book, we shouldn't blindly believe in it. Logical reasoning alone. So if it sounds logically convincing to us, we shouldn't have blind faith in it. Interference or deduction. So if we are from our conclusions and we draw assumptions from our conclusions, we shouldn't believe in that either. And the seventh one is reflected reasoning. Um, if it seems reasonable upon reflection. The eighth one is agreement with our existing views, if it matches what we already think. The ninth one is appearance of competence, if the speaker looks wise or knowledgeable. And the 10th one is respect for a teacher. This is our teacher, so it must be true. So it's these points are astonishingly relevant today. The Buddha was not rejecting tradition or logic or teachers entirely. Instead, he was warning us not to rely on them blindly. And so during the discussion, someone had asked the Buddha, or I guess we move to so the Kalamas. So the Buddha had instructed the Kalamas on that, and I think they had asked, how to understand how to recognize, if it's how to understand if it's true or not. And the Buddha taught the Kalamas to examine whether a teaching or action leads to the rising of greed, hatred, or delusion. And when those qualities grow stronger, they produce suffering for ourselves and others. If a teaching leads to these harmful states, the Buddha advised to abandon it. This and recognizing wholesome qualities. So if we examine whether a teaching encourages the fading of greed, hatred, or delusion, when those defilements weaken, the mind becomes lighter and more peaceful. So that was the teaching that the Buddha had given. Also, um, I guess the core message of the teaching was that the Buddha's teaching, he's not telling us to depend on external, he is not telling us to depend on external authorities, instead encourages us to develop our own wisdom. Um, the real measure of truth is not popularity, tradition, or intellectual cleverness. The true measure is this: does this lead to reduction of greed, hatred, or delusion? If it does, it is skillful. If it increases these qualities, it leads towards suffering. And this principle will give us the reliable guide for both spiritual practice and everyday life.
Thank you, Mike. That was wonderful.
Okay,
Thank you for
thanks.
taking the effort to give us a nice recap. We really appreciate it. So now I'm going to pass it on to Bante to lead our session tonight.
Oh, sorry
Thank
about that. Bante is muted.
Okay, thank you, Tina. Okay, right. And thank you, Mike, bringing your summary to the class. And this is something important because we all know that we are gradually diving to the dependent origination. So I don't want just you to give a kind of a knowledge. I just want to give you a kind of a practical understanding. So that's why we need to dive in with the kind of a with proper direction. So in brief, so we learned that when Buddha taught that, so that based on a question that Kalam asked, that how do we believe something because someone come and say this is right, and the other person answer comes and finding false and saying it's not right, and this is what we are saying is the right thing. So how do we find that? So then Buddha gave us a measurement to do that. So if it is uh, Buddha asked us to see that the greediness, anger, or the delusion, so those things, when those arises, how do we feel? Like it is like worthy or unworthy? It's blameless or it's like blameful. That the wise people also blame on that, and so it's kind of a thing. It hurts us and hurts others. So be- so no matter how who says that, if something related to anger or greediness or delusion, it's not a right teaching. No matter who says that. So if someone telling us something related to letting go greediness, anger, or delusion, that's a right teaching. So then that way you can understand that. Not so in here I'm the teacher in here, so because I'm the teacher, I'm not it's not like you shouldn't rely on me. What where you should rely on, you should rely on that understanding, whether it's a lobe or greediness or not, anger or not, delusion or not. So that sort of a teaching Buddha gives. So now I think that if we all understand that, and now there's a question how to let go anger and delusion and all those defilements, and that's where now we are gonna talk how to let go those defilements. It's a kind of a practical question. And so before we dive into that, I can give you a couple of minutes to ask if you are not clear about what you learned. And if you have not participated to the previous the last class, you can go through the recording and listen it again. And then it's in the WhatsApp group. And so then you can understand what we are talking. But other than that, if you have any question, please bring it.
Bante, can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure, Tina.
I'm not sure if it's related to the topic or not, but what if you mentioned greed, hatred, and delusion, anger? What if you're around people that gets angry
Sorry,
around
but
you?
if
What if
around
there's
people,
angry people around you?
yeah,
Like how?
yeah. So I mean, to even a Buddha or anyone, there's no like escape from that. But if there may be people who are angry with us, the most important thing is whether we are angry with them or not. So because if we get angry, that's where we suffer, and not because others what others doing and the way they treat. So when we dive into teachings, we understand that actually, so the others can do less, like very little things. They can't hurt us a lot, but when it comes to our mind, they can hurt us a lot. Our mind can hurt us a lot, Tina. So therefore, it's better to understand that it's okay. Others may having defilements, but if they are not ready to correct, what to do? But the point is in our side, right? Okay. So let's dive into the sutta. This sutta name is Kaya Sutta. I will give you a kind of a simple summary first. Uh, um, right. Uh, Buddha saying, this teaching Buddha has given in Savatti, Ati Bhikkhave Dhamma Kayena Pahatabba no Vachai. There are things, Buddha saying, there are things you have to let go those defilements from your bodily actions, not from your verbal action. Ati Bhikkhave Dhamma Vachai Pahatabba no Kayena. There are some defilements you need to let go from your verbal actions, not from your bodily action. And then Atibhikkhave Dhamma Neva Kayena Pahatabba no Vachaya Panyaya Diswa Pahatabba. There are defilements you can let go through your bodily or verbal action, but you have to see it within yourself, because using your own insight, vipassana or panya, you have to let go those defilements. So then Buddha is saying, Katamecha bhikkhave dhamma kayena or pahatabba no vachaya. What are the defilements you may need to let go from your bodily action, not from your words. So then Buddha saying, Ida Vikave Biko Akusalang Apano. There's a monk who's committed some sort of bad behavior uh, based on the bodily action. Maybe there are bodily action be display behavior like killing animal, stealing, sexual misconduct or something like that. Tamenang anuvicha vinyu sabrahmachari eva mahan. So if when it says a wise a monk, like fellow monk, may come and say, uh, uh, dear dear monk, you have you have committed a bad karma, or you have broken a precept, and then it's better to correct yourself. And then because of the friend's help, that the monk who did that wrong thing can correct himself. So those are the things which mean that we have to correct through our bodily action, not from our verbal action. So it's in the other words, I will correct. Someone say I will correct, but he's not correcting it. It's because if it's related to bodily action, so that means he need to uh, actually like correct himself through the bodily actions. And in the same way, katamacha bhikkave dhamma vachaya pahatabba no kayen. What are the things uh, we need to let go from verbal action, not bodily actions. So those are the things, someone doing something wrong behavior, misbehavior based on verbal action, which means that telling a lie, telling something behind others' back, telling harsh things, expecting to hurt others, and then the gossiping, wasting time on unwanted things. So then these things are visible to the other monks also. Then when another monk come and say, all even the layperson also this related thing, and come and say, okay, you are doing something wrong. It's better you to correct yourself. So in this way, they can correct themselves. And then those are the two things that verbally or physically we need to correct. So uh, sometimes we may feel like, okay, this is a very simple, like a simple thing. Why it's so like going in like this sort of order? So we have to understand that Buddha is not someone just passing a knowledge. It, within the teaching, Buddha improve our wisdom, insight. So that's why there's a kind of a rhythm in these teachings. So when you learn, try to learn like you are sitting in front of Buddha in Savatthi and there and just listening to what Buddha says. Because this is like a recorded, not voice recording, but script recording. So then Buddha says, then katamecha bhikkave dhamma neva kayena pahatabba no vachaya panyaya diswa pahatabba. Okay, what are the things we need to let go from our mind, not from body or verbal actions. So this is what Buddha is saying. Lobo bhikkave neva kayena pahatabbo no vachaya panyaya diswa pahatabbo. Lobo, the greediness, it is something we need to let go in our mind and not from body or not from the verbal actions. Panyaya diswa. You need to see, diswa means keep seeing, keep on seeing that. Whenever, wherever it arises in your mind, you have to see it and let it go. See it and let it go. Greediness. Doso, that the anger arises, when it arises, you have to or seeing it and often seeing it and let it go. Which means that that it's the panya disa means that you can understand that what it sounds. Okay, it's not like a sealer or the verbal or physical correction. When once you correct your physical or verbal thing, and that's it. But when it come to mind is not something like that. It will keep on popping. Think that you just let go greediness and you just gave something you have where to one of your friend. That doesn't mean that you just ended the whole greediness. Maybe in the next time, even in the next very moment, you may feel greediness. So that's how it's like panya this using your insight. You need to see it wherever whenever it arises and see it and let go, see it and let go, see it and let go. It's like a process. So that's that's what we need to understand. And then what else? Moho, defilements, the delusion, I'm sorry. So the delusion and the delusion also we have to see it and whenever it arises and let it go. So that the delusion, there are two levels of delusion, that the delusion of that someone may have a deluded mind. That person can't understand. In our words, they don't have usual human qualities, like that they are not accountable. Think that we are accountable to our actions, and we should be grateful to our parents, teachers, and doing good will there are things we get it in return. And mother and father, they are special, and not only we are just came from nowhere. This like a process, like there's a possibility to reborn, and then what else, like but not just humans, that there are living beings in the world. And the last thing is that there are special people comes to the born in this world. They have a super knowledge about this world, and they are understanding it by themselves, and they are teaching it to the society. So if someone do not have that sort of a kind of a usual common sense, and then what happens, they are not ready to listen. And sometimes we may feel like, are there I like, is there any people like that who never ever believe karma? Because we know that if anyone read about the Second World War, like that biography, so that the novels also, you may see, okay, there was a period like that, people were cruel. Actually, to be honest, sometimes even though these things when we learn, sometimes it's hard, because being a monk, always we are confronted with the good people. But more often, I'm not saying every time, but 90% or at least. So we feel like everyone is same. Sometimes when we see some videos, because the children, they are because children are like so pure, like we say, like children are like flowers. So they are just they are humans, and without much spoil, they have not spoiled their lives with the conflicts around the world. But I have seen some children, because of living in some parts of the world, they are, it's like one group is so happy to see other, a whole other group, doesn't matter million or so, just killed, seen them killed or died, or they are so happy to see that, even like they are happily saying that. The other group also saying the same. There's no mercy, even at least for the kids. It's like so that sort of a mind. So that means that then the first level of the delusion also very bad. The second delusion is that that delusion, that's where that delusion erase when we practice dependent origination, and learn and practice that meditation on dependent origination. That's where we understand that the impermanence and uncertainty of the dukkha, or the selflessness. So those things we can learn in that once we learn, and once it comes to our own understanding, and then thereafter easier, so we can let go that delusion also. So basically there are two types of delusion. One is like that the issue of that person does not know about that the 10 types of common sense what they should have, like nati dinna. They don't believe that there's a giving is something good. Nati nita nati hutang, which means that they do not believe that doing chores and respecting others those are something good, and they don't believe that the mother and father is someone special, and they don't believe that there's not only this world, we are reborn in again, and then they don't believe that uh, but not only like as humans, there are living beings born in other ways also in the world. And then there's like you can go through this, you can Google it and find out. And the last thing is uh, when someone who do not believe that there are special people who lived in this earth with full of wisdom. So those are the things. The next level delusion is like that the delusion of that feeling of I, me in these conditioned things, and that's where we need to let go using knowledge of the dependent origination. Okay, we learned that there are three defilements where we need to erase in from our mind by seeing it when it arises. uh, Lobo or the greediness, those or the anger, then moho or the delusion. Let's see what are the other things. And kodo and then upanaho. Kodo and upanaho means like that when someone angry, it does not stop in anger. So once they angry, then it will turn into after some time, that it will increase. Okay, like after sometimes it turns to like that not just angry. This is that anger comes to a serious thing, and then that upanaha. It's like uh, that means that like now you are not just angry, but it's like one of your main priority in your life is to hurt the other person you are angry. It's like not just anger, then it's not that the improvement of anger. Now you are just committing your whole, like you are one of your priority to hurt that the other person. And then mako. Mako means that your mind is not ready to see the qualities of the other person. We can learn this one by one in later. And then palaso, that means that it says it's like this: if someone did something to you, you want to do something uh, back to that person again, not in good way. It's like this thing. I mean, think that if someone said some word to you, you are not ready to let go anger. It's like, okay, if he said a bad word, then I want to say one again. Then the other person saying something, then you feel like you are defeated. Then you want to say something special again, and then it's not end from words, maybe physical. And sometimes that if you have went through this history, sometimes those are such a little problems started in the dinner tables of the kings, but it ended with two wars, like a serious wars. So they did not know that knowledge of letting go of those things. So those are serious things, because they may have, after the war, they may come back again and have a dinner peacefully, but people who are in the ground has to pay the price, right? Um, and then Macharyang means that the stinginess, that you want to give something. At the same time, it's when you try to give, It's like someone taking a sandpaper and sanding inside of your heart. You want to give, but it feels hurt that like you want to give in the same time you don't like you feel hurt when you try to give. So that's the Macharya. And then what else? Papika Bhikkhave Issa. Papika Issa means that's also something that pretending. Think that you don't have confidence towards Buddha, but you see that the others also pretty confident towards Buddha, and they offer flowers and they bring palms together and worship, and you feel like, okay, uh, I also should do the same. Just to pretend, you show that you have that confidence towards Buddha, not your like improving a quality in you, but you just want some attention. Hey, I'm also someone like you, and not only for the Shraddha, and it's like in late it says that someone think that they are not following precepts, but they just pretending like I'm following precepts. Someone is like not have knowledge, they just pretending that they have knowledge. Sometimes they don't have concentration, they just pretending like have the concentration just to get the attention. So those are the papikaisa, or the wrong expectations. And then what the pavit also the papika Papika Icha. One second. Papika Bhikkhave is a kind of okay, right. Then the Papika and then Issa means so jealousy. Jealousy means that you know that in late it described like uh, one of your co-worker, or maybe it describes even with among the monks even. So if someone receives something better, or as a lay person, if he gain the wealth and so, the other person feel like he shouldn't have that. Likewise, that sort of like there's like nothing to do with the other person's progress, but it feels hurt within themselves. So that's the jealousy. So these are common things. So the thing is, these things, not just you're erasing by just observing precept, you have to keep on practicing this. Panya disva disva. It says disva means look, seeing it. There's double seeing, seeing again and again, and letting it go. So that's what Buddha is saying. And then, okay, then Buddha describes different things like Ida Bhikkhave, okay, Katamacha Bhikkhave, Buddha describe what is the jealousy. It's like this. So jealousy is Ida Bhikkhave Ijjati Gahapati Sava Gahapati Puttasava Danenava Danyenava Jatarupenava. So it's like one lay person, or lay person's son, then again a lay person, from their wealth, or maybe from their harvest, or from their money, or whatever, they are progressing, and then someone who's working with them, or some another person feels like they should not receive that much of wealth. And if when it comes to monks also, there are four special things monks need. That means chivara, which means the robe; pindapata means food; senasana means that some monastery to live; kilana pacha means the medicine. If and then the other requisites. If any monk, one monk may receive a lot, and the other monk may feel like, okay, he shouldn't receive that much of things. So like if it is based on that sort of a thought pattern, then it described as the jealousy. So then it says, then again say, what is papika icha? Ida bhikkhave ekacho asaddo samano saddoti man jane yunting ichati. There's a one, that person does not have confidence towards the Buddha, but he just wanted to pretend like he has. Dussilo samano silavati mang janeyunti ichchati. That person is not following precepts, but he just want to pretend like he have following precepts. Bahusutto, they doesn't have knowledge, but they just want to show off that he has knowledge. Like then Sanganika Ramo Samano Pavivittavati Manjanint Uchati. Someone is always like being with the society, like being with like that community gathering. He's expecting to be he like very much community gathering, but he just pretending like, no, I'm just no, I'm a meditative person. I more often meditate, but I have less community stuffs just to pretend. So that's also wrong thing. And then kusito samano aradha viriyoti manjayani into uchati. Someone is super lazy but want to pretend like I'm a courageous person. And then mutta sati samano upatita sati manjani into uchati. Someone does not have that mindfulness but pretending like he's mindful. And then asamahito samano samahitoti. That person does not have a concentration, but he is just pretending like he has. Those are the papika icha, that means that bad expectations. And those are again can't eradicate from your bodily action or verbal action. You have to see it, and when it arises, and you have to let it go. And then okay, now it teach how to let go. There's a thought pattern which we can use. Before we dive into that, I just want to go ask just to see whether there are any questions you have regarding this. So basically, before your question, what we learned, like last week we learned that okay, uh, there are different philosophies and spiritual talkings, and so we don't know what is right and what is wrong. So they do the saying, okay, forget about it. Maybe come from your ancestors, maybe it's in a book, and because the other people saying, and it's kind of a thing, and like seems like good. There, whatever the thing, it's not the right way to decide or define this is right or this is wrong. To define something right or wrong, what you need to do is see whether it's a lobe or the based because greediness or anger or delusion. Why it's so? When greediness arises, it hurts you and it hurts others and it creates suffering because of your attachment. Because this world has an age of impermanence, and when you attach to something, you feel suffer. And anger also rises, no matter how beautiful and nice this present moment, you always live in your past judgments towards someone else, and it leads you to create unwanted priorities to hurt others or to live with the anger, hatred throughout your life. Delusion. That means that misunderstanding or the not knowing the reality of the world. At least we know that when we do not know the reality of the world, we just believing something. It may be not the truth. So that's something. So we can think like, okay, I may don't know what is exactly the truth, but I can invest my life. I can work on that to understand what is the reality of the of the life, rather than just believing, but something seeing within myself. So then now this class, we are learning that Buddha saying, uh, okay, there are things you can let go from verbal actions and physical actions, but there are things you have to let go when it arises. Those are the defilements which arises in our mind. So then we learn there are different defilements, lobo, greediness, doso, anger, moho defilements, and then the kodo, that means that the upgraded version of anger, and upanaho, that your priority to hurt the other person, like hatred, and then you are not ready to see the good side of the other person. These are serious things. I mean, I have seen some people when they mad, no matter how good the other person is, I mean, forget about good, how, every person has good and bad. So they are not ready to see the good side, even in a small good thing of someone. So you can see these things more often in political discussions. You know that every politician may have done good things and bad things. When you get mad or when you're upset about that person, when someone say good thing, you're not ready to listen. I mean, that's the way. So it's not like what is the right thing should be. We should see if it is a good thing, okay, that's a good thing. If it is a bad thing, yes, so that's a bad thing. So likewise, you have to, instead of judging person from what they have done, we have to let that person to change because of anger, what he has done that is wrong, and that's wrong. Because of loving kindness, this person has done this. Once upon a time at least, okay, that's good. So likewise. And then the palas, which means that, and that means that if someone did something, you want to hurt that the other person. If not, you feel like you have not. You feel like generally like identity crisis, like you lost your identity if you do not do what your mind says. So like you want to hurt back, right? And then the man, and that's something that means that the ego, and then this icha or the jealousy, and then the papika icha, which means that the bad expectations. So those things, uh, we need to see it and erase it. So we are going to use a thought pattern to do that. Before that, if there are any question, please bring it. Yes, Stacy.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, Stacy. How are you?
I wanted to make a comment about something you said, that if you're a really good person, people tend to overlook that. But when you do one thing that you didn't mean, people hold anger. And that happened to somebody I'm close with. I think I mentioned I was always really good to this person. I still am, cared. And, like I said, I'm usually good at, meditating, breathing, grounding myself. But I got very angry once, said something hurtful, and that was the only time I've done that. This person is still a month later angry at me, uh, on the Instagram writing posts that are angry. And I feel sad because that person isn't looking at all the good things I've done. They're just letting this one thing. So how do people who hold anger, what's the best way for them to overcome it in a healthy way? Yeah.
Yeah, so that the thing is, it's rare. So if that person do not practice mindfulness, it's rare to understand that. So that's, it's a common thing. If you uh, ask, or if you do a survey like that, Stacy, like there we all have at least one friend once upon a time, for a simple thing, like a slight thing, like we have never ever thought that it's something serious, maybe just a word. Because of that, they just went away from our life. Not only went away, but holding anger still up to today. At least one. I mean, you all may have that sort of. So this is a common thing. Why it's happened? That as we learn that the marker, that means that when we have that defilement arises, we are not ready to see the good thing side of that the other person. So this is a serious thing. Like no matter how hard we try, but still uh, mm, uh, the other person can see the good side, good thing. So then it's a bit, the most important thing is uh, first try to have open discussion with you or someone that person believe that, I mean, who can help that person to overcome. If not, the best option is giving that person some time, and when not only some time, even a space. Why
Yes.
so? Even though you want that person to correct, but whenever he or she sees you, that usual thought pattern arises. That means that even though you want to see be help, that person see only that from the past. So that's how it is.
And you would continue to be kind and wish them well because it's better
Yeah.
for your inner peace. Okay.
Inner peace, and in the same time, I mean, if that person, whenever they see you, he or she see you, he or she get mad, give some space that person. When we give some space, that there are the other priorities comes to that person's mind, and then after that he can easily let go that anger after some time. It's not that he's actually letting go anger, that it goes to background, and there may be other requirements comes to his mind. So then because of that he may feel calm. I mean, let's hope so, because I know some people, I mean, they are super good, but they can't understand these things. I mean, think that after 6 months, when we discuss about something has happened uh, to that person like 6 months ago, suddenly, once that memory comes, that person get angry, like so mad, like it's like actually PTSD. Like that's the way of our mind.
Yeah. So, out of self respect, one more thing, I know we have to go. I tend to overlook a lot of anger. Would you say that's a good quality because you still want to respect yourself and tell a person that they upset you, but I also overlook anger. I forgive people very easily. So, was wondering if that's a good quality or not.
I mean, forgiving is one of the best quality and one of the rarest qualities people can have in their lives.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, honey, after a long time.
Namo Buddhaya.
No, but
Bhante. I had a question regarding all of this. Like in the past, you mentioned someone you would just like they get reminded, they get angry. If there was a traumatic event that has happened in the past, what does Buddhism say how to cure it? Does one have to go into their past and fix the problem so that maybe this PTSD can go away? Or do we stay in the present and fix it? What does Buddhism say about something like this?
yeah, Buddhism teach us to bring our mind to present moment and see that past is just a thought. So in that way we created like a kind of, we disconnect our bodily feelings and our thought patterns. So if someone having PTSD, means that that person definitely have a body pain related to that feelings. So that means that that body pain can trigger that memory, that memory can trigger body pain. So in both way, and that person having hard time in this earth. So then what Buddhism does is Buddhism disconnect that story which created in our mind, because we know that story is a fake story where when we dive into the deep teachings, but feelings are real. So we see that story as just a thought rising and falling, and we see the feelings also rising and falling. In that way, once we disconnect, so that body sensations may arise, but there is no story to hang on to it. So it's like a thing that you have a back pain, and then once that because of that back pain you have like a, you know, that you are so lazy to do something, and then suddenly you uh, you fix that issue like into your body, maybe through a surgery also. So then after sometimes your mind may sometimes, okay, in your mind may say that there's something, but actually there is not, but it will let go. And in the same time the other side also, like think that the body thing is, of course it may keep on coming, but if you let go that the negative thought patterns which creates, once it let go, you just see physical pain as physical pain. But you know that the what we call the back pain is something actually it is still there, even not it's not because of your thought pattern, but when it comes to the pains with chest or head area, like a forehead or so, that based on the thought patterns. So once that thought pattern is not connecting with that feelings, those those painful sensations will arise, and it will fade away, because there is nothing to continue that. So just keep on practice that, especially the meditations like loving kindness, because loving meditation like loving kindness, it easily triggers that happiness in you. So when we fill your heart with happiness, you can overcome from those difficult feelings.
Thank you for that. A follow-up to this is that if this, is there any kind of like, say, like, say you're wounded from your past, which led to the PTSD. Do you ever try to imagine from that age while you're doing it in the present moment? Like, can you picture something like that? I was wounded, let's say 10 years of age, but having PTSD right now. You're saying to do it in the present moment, to leave that negative thought pattern. Do you ever picture
No, yeah,
yourself doing
no,
that and
no,
to take away this thought pattern?
if you go to past, in there also you have to be present in your memory. Uh, 10 years ago, whatever you feel, you have to be present. So the problem is, that's what actually people do, that then what they are saying, that subconscious treatments also. But the thing is, if you try to do it by yourself without a guidance, not with the therapist, so whenever that memory comes, you feel hurt, because your mind is not ready to experience that with the present moment experience. Think that someone experienced a tragic accident. Think that if you have heard that the bombs, so if someone lived in a place where that bombing and things, so whenever that sort of a sound come, like a bang sound, it hurts them. Think that in the same time, this person living in that like he's mentally want to go to that time, he's not prepared himself, then he will be back again to this moment with so much of pain and memories, the things he lost at that time. So those things, if a therapist do for you, go do with the therapist, because therapy is always doing it with the case studies and proved way, not just imagining and doing. But other than that, be careful if you try to do something like that. If you do that, definitely you should have a huge amount of compassion towards yourself and everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bante, can I just add something quickly for Sunny?
Yes.
Sunny, you
Yes.
can also maybe book a session with Bante. I think you can also talk to Bante like one-on-one as well, right, Bante?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, Sunny came like a past year
Oh,
often, and I think now he's busy on Sundays. That's the thing.
oh, okay.
Thank you, Tina.
You're welcome.
Yeah, he's the one usually at Sundays offering balls, water balls to the Bodhi tree, and so I gave a kind of a responsibility him. Right. Okay. When it comes to the erase the defilements here, so see this, when you think in this way, definitely we all will be down to earth, because okay, before we go to this, let's just take one common defilement we all agree, and we all do not afraid to say that I have this whenever it arises, because I know that sometimes you can say I'm jealous. It's but we all agree to what defilement we can all agree. Like anything out of the what we said.
Anger.
I was gonna say anger too.
Okay, so then here's
Anger.
the thought pattern.
Anger.
Okay, thank you. So this is what Buddha says, right? Buddha says, okay, tanche bhikkave bhikkhu lobo abhibhuya iri. Okay, not that. Okay, yes. Pavikana. Okay, that here it says. So eva masa veditabo. Okay. Tata ayasma pajanati yata pajanato lobo na hoti tatahi mang ayasmantan lobo nabhibuya iriyati. Okay, this for the doso I will say it like doso. That's the only one word is changing, but what Buddha saying? Hold on a second. Tata himang ayasmantan doso nabhibuya iriyati. If there is a monk or someone who's a meditator, that person does not have this defilement or the anger. Uh, uh, the way that person knows, I do not know about anger. Okay, it's like this. If someone knows well about anger, probably that person does not have anger. So the way that person knows, I do not know about anger. So whenever you get mad, what you need to think. So if some person knows about anger, that person does not have anger. So I do not know about anger the way that person knows. Is it clear? Okay, now what happens? When you get mad, you can't justify your anger at any cost. Because at least if you justify, I mean, it's like this. If you justify, you understand one thing. Okay, I don't know about anger. It creates like, oh, it feels hurt like we want to overcome from anger. We want to follow a path. And in the same time, we admit that, okay, we are not practicing it well. So it let go the ego. Once we let go that ego, that I, once we let go that representing any defilement as ourselves, that's where we have space to let go let go any defilement. This is just a one thought pattern, but this is a very one of the most powerful thought pattern. Yes, Dilip.
So I guess basically what you're saying is like when these what's the word? When these like show up like anger, delusion, greed, like these things are usually feeding our ego, right? Like especially anger, it's like we're justifying it and it makes us feel like ourself feel bigger. But then when we're like, oh, I actually don't know what is happening right now, it like weakens it.
Yes, I mean,
Okay.
yes, that ego feeds anger. So then we address not the anger, but the ego.
Ego. Okay. Thank you.
So then it will clear ourselves. So this is a wonderful thought pattern. Like if you get jealous, so then think that if we live in a team like this, so then sometimes we feel like we don't have actual quality and we want to pretend it like that. So then we can't pretend like that because the whole society is all about showing off. I mean, you know that so sometimes people start to meditate even just to show off because they just believe that it's like a yoga type, like a physical strength also. Now there's something far more advanced than that. So then when they understand, okay, if someone do not know about this defilement, probably that person does not have this defilement. I do not know about this defilement the way that person knows. It creates kind of eager to be that person who knows about this defilement. So then we are not mad with that the person who create anger. We may probably mad with our own anger because we have not, or the ego, we have not let it go. So then we don't waste our time on hurt others or finding what we can do for the as a return, but we can correct ourselves within ourselves. So I mean, this is one of the best thought patterns what we can have in our lives. You will see that most of the defilements easily will go to background when you do this thought pattern. Think in this way. So that's the way to every thought pattern, and then it's like this. If uh, if uh, if it is related to like the greediness, if some okay, forget about greediness. Let's think about the stinginess or something like that you want to give something, and in the same time you feel like no, I don't. Then what you can do? You can think like, okay, if someone know about this, well, that person does not have this stinginess. Since I do not know the way that person know, this defilement arises. So you are working on that. So these things are like, I mean, practice this, then what will you get? So that's the third thing. Then the next class, that's what we are gonna learn. And so when you do this, I will show something special in you to see within yourself. See, here's the thing. Once you control your anger with ego, like when you let go anger with the ego also, it creates a inner peace, inner happiness in you. That space, that's where the piti or that the blissfulness that arises in you. So then what you need to do is once that blissfulness arises, you want to connect it to the Buddha, character of the Buddha, or even for the enlightened monk. Why it's so? Why we need to do that? That is the way to see the Buddha, not through a statue. So when you see Buddha through Dhamma or those teachings, then whenever you contemplate contemplate the qualities of the Buddha, you can bring this peaceful mind. So then it's uh, like often I say that the best thing is create your own monastery in your heart, because we can't can't go to monastery every day. So it's like you are creating your own monastery in your heart, just letting go ego, and then thinking, wow, Buddha has this sort of a mind, and Buddha is an arahant, and enlightened monks had this, and they are enlightened. So when you think in that way, that you feel like so much of blissfulness and tranquility and concentration. So then uh, if you gain that concentration in that way, no one can steal that, because only person who can lose that is you, by letting go your bringing ego back. See this how practical this way, rather than just putting our all pressure to our mind and just focusing with all our energy to our breath, and we just concentrate. So we have in there also we have a concentration and kind of a blissfulness because of our concentration. How it comes? Because of we are putting our energy. One day when we busy, then we do not have time to do that. Then we lose that. Then we feel like frustrated. In the past I had, I don't have now. Because and again when defilements comes, your energy, you can't bring your focus is not staying, because you have a wandering mind, because you have so many defilements. But when you let go defilements and bring concentration, who can steal that? See how practical Buddha's teachings. And no words on that. Any questions from that?
Ante, so in order to let go of anger, we have to let go of our ego.
Yeah, yeah. It's actually anger is like a Tina, a version of the ego.
Mhm. So when I get frustrated with my students, I feel like it's not anger, it's just frustration. Is it
Yeah.
anger?
That's also part of anger.
Anger. Mm.
Yeah. So what you have to do is like, okay, if someone know about anger well, that person does not have no anger, does not have anger. I
Mm.
don't know as that person knows.
Yeah. I don't get
Think-
angry. I just get
Yeah.
like frustrated because sometimes
So
I would say, tell
yeah,
them to do something and they don't do it. And then they come back when it's really bad and then we have to fix it. That's
so
the
yeah,
part.
so then you can think like this. If someone knows about frustrated well, that person probably don't have a frustrated. So I don't know about the way that
Mhm.
person knows about frustration.
Mm.
Right. Yes, Mike.
Thank you, Bhante. What were the two kinds of delusion? I know the first one you had mentioned were like the 10 things of common sense.
Mhm.
But what was the second one?
It's the not knowing of four noble truths, Mike,
Mm.
as understanding. So you know that noble eightfold path, samma ditti, that means right understanding, right intention, words, yeah, speech, karma, the actions, bodily actions, and then livelihood and effort, and then the mindfulness, and samadhi, or the concentration. After those eight, there are samma jnana and samma vimukti. Jnana means that just you rather than just a knowledge, so it's your own wisdom, and then because of your own wisdom, that's the end of the ego, vimukti. So that's why once you practice noble eightfold path, if that person ended being an enlightened monk or arahant, that person, the arahant has 10 qualities, not just 8. When they practice those 8, ended up having 10. The last two is sammanyana, means that the wisdom. Because of wisdom, no ego at all.
Um,
Right? Yeah. Kevin, do you have anything, any questions?
Not right now. No, just listening.
Okay.
Okay.
Did you
Thank you.
understand what you learned?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like how these emotions are fleeting and trying to let them go, let them come and go. I mean, I've read about this separately as well.
Okay, that's good. Right. Okay, now it's time to practice. I mean, if you have any questions, so here's the, so I usually, I mean, it's rare to get a class, to be honest, where you allowed to ask questions and discuss. So take that benefit. So because when we have that benefit, take that benefit, and that's where we can improve our knowledge, right? Right. Okay, now I think the main question is, Bhante, we need to have our dinner, right? Okay. Is there anyone want to share blessings to on behalf of their family or someone? If so, please put it to the chat. Not, let's share merits. Let's say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Today we learned about an important TS Sutta, Kaya Sutta. We will put into the group and you can read it by your own. And let's share all these good karma, good blessings, good merits with our with all the divine powers and your private guardians, and with our teacher Pinnatloko Swaminans and all the monastic monks, and with past relatives and friends, and with all the meditators and volunteers who came today to practice meditation. May you all be well, may you all be happy, and may your all good wishes come true, and may you all able to experience the blissfulness and the happiness. I'm going to chant the blessings in Buddha's language. Abhivadana Silisa Nichang Vada Pajaino Chattaro Dhamma Vadanti Ayuvanno Sukhang Balang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Minate Samichyatu. May you all have a long life, happy life, and healthy life. Namo Buddhaya.
Namo Buddhaya. Thank you, Bante.
Namo Buddhaya.
Yeah.
Before we leave, we would like to share merit with Bante. Mike, would you like to lead us?
Yes.
Thank you. And everyone can join as well.
Okasa Vandami Bante.
Sakyata.
Maya Katam Punyam Samina Anumoditabam.
Sadhu sadhu. Anumoda.
Samina Katam Punyam Maiham Databam.
Sadhu sadhu anumoda.
Sadhu Sadhu Anumodami. Okasa Davartana Katam Sabam Achayam Katama Mi Bante.
Kamami kamta.
Okasa Kamami Bante. Dutiyampi Okasa Kamami
Bante.
Tatiyampi Okasa Kamami Bante.
Sakyata nimba.